Hello, is this the phone number for...
You summoned me once again, mortal.
Alright, let's do this.
I'm gonna be honest, I think we've just unlocked God mode. Oh my god, wait, why is there the wall of flesh? We just killed him, but he also died, so that counts, right? How are we versing Providence and the credits are still rolling? So it's probably the final episode of starting with Zenith. It finishes off with a bang, as Calamity has finally come to 1.4, and we shall find out how far one can get by starting with Zenith. As per normal, I started with solar wings and armor, and here are the mods if you'd like to try this for yourself. Also, I'm doing a very special Terraria live stream, so make sure to tune in to the end of the video for more details on that. Let's do this. We started off by admiring the new home screen, which happens to have 3 of our favorite Calamity bosses: Shadow Demon, Shadow Samurai, and the letter Y. With our tradition still intact, we kept pressing the random button until someone in Twitch chat had told us to stop. We landed on this lovely fellow, and Twitch chat gave him the name 1.4 Dudes in Me. We went to go create a world, but a new world popped up in my tab, which caught my eye and my heartstrings. So together we had to go check it out and see what it had in store. Loading into the world, we were met with some signs in a chest. Signs, they told me a story. One of great loss, tragedy, a hint of romance, but at the end of it, pure and utter despair. Nah, I'm just kidding. I didn't read any of that. Some asshole was just insulting me, saying that I ran out of ideas and doing this video was repetitive. Like, I bet you it was intern Alpha. I swear, that slide bar... Interns. Regardless, that rat did leave us one thing, and that being the loot to start our journey. We headed straight for the mines and started the earliest work on a elevator, and also exploring the underground caves in search for some loot. And oh boy, loot we did find. Bam, a mate. Bam, a mining chisel. Bam, a snake flute. Bam, a regen ring. Bam, another snake flute. Bam, Luxor's gift. For those of you who don't know, Luxor's gift is a Calamity accessory that allows melee weapons to shoot projectiles. And I don't know if you've heard, but we're using Zenith. I mean, just look at this! If we weren't strong already, we are now hitting strong status! But my dear friends, our loot journey does not end there. Because we found, I dare say, the grandest mushroom biome ever. We started off by finding 2 heart crystals next to each other. But if I move a micrometer to the right, there were 2 more. And there were 2 loot houses in the biome. One of them had Hermes boots, and the other had a flare gun. But still, we reached hell and were just having the literal time of our lives swinging our sword around, and the wall of flesh just spawned. I may have accidentally killed a voodoo demon, but like, what are the chances? I mean, come on, Terraria. After defeating the wall of flesh, we noticed that it dropped a demon heart, which is extra weird because that's an expert-only item. So it's either a bug with Calamity, or Calamity just allows you to have it, but you can't actually use the item. Either way, it was there. When arriving on the surface, the letter P was following us around for some reason. I did not know what it was, and chat didn't either. It's probably something that we already have, but we took it as a sign to start work on our base. But Alpha, base doesn't start with P. No, but do you know what else starts with P? So about an hour later, we had finally created a PP house yet again. During that, we also battled the twins, watched a tree roleplay Minecraft, and Twitch chat sending us a change.org article to get me a skull. By the way, no. But terrible life choices aside, let me give you a tour of the new and improved PP house, as it looks like the tip of the house was penetrating the ground. It also happened to have a snow white background for, reasons. And going back to the balls, they rested at the height limit with the worst shape possible. With all that preparation out of the way, it was finally time to see how far we could get through this huge mob. Our first step was battling the mechanical bosses so we could get to Plantera. We had already defeated the twins as mentioned earlier, so Big Worm and Skelly Belly Prime still remain. Unluckily for us, we still had a copper pickaxe, so we had to go get the hard mode ores to challenge the remainder of the bosses. So bam, Eater of Worlds. Bam, we got the Prime Summoner. Bam, Hellstone Pickaxe. Bam, Palladium Pickaxe. Bam, Prime Dead. Bam, Orichalcum Pickaxe. Bam, we found a plant spawner. What does the Plantera bulb spawn after the mechanical bosses? Plantera's bulb will start spawning after you have defeated 3 mechanical bosses. Well, the twins are dead, Prime is dead, but Big Worm isn't dead. I ain't sucking your dick again. So I guess we don't have to battle old mate Big Worm because Plantera is dead. And we got the jungle key to go challenge Golem. We absolutely speed ran through the temple like there's no tomorrow and defeated Golem. Now, with that out of the way, we kind of remembered that this was the Calamity mod, not the vanilla mod with a few other bosses. So I wanted to see how well we'd go up against Calamitous. Now, for those of you who didn't know, this Calamitous is kind of like a pre-alpha version of the actual Calamitous you verse at the end of the mod. It was kind of like us dipping toes in the water to see what Calamitous was about, but except this water was slightly acidic because we took a decent amount of damage, but luckily not enough damage for the oh no, bro, alarm to go off. Going from that, I personally wanted to verse the Plague Bringer Goliath, the Calamity mod's equivalent of the hard mode Big B, and it's also post Golem, so it's definitely part of the progression. But I mainly wanted to battle it because of its OST. Bit of a hot take, but I believe his theme is the best one in all of the Calamity soundtrack. So after defeating Big Metal B with half health remaining, we moved on to the Celestial event and of course the Moonlord. Say goodbye to the Cultist, the Solar Pillar, the Stardust Pillar, the Nebula Pillar, the Vortex Pillar, and especially say goodbye to the idea of giving me a skull. Oh yeah, and I want to mention that we also defeated the Empress of Light and the Calamity boss Astrum Dues. One was an accident spawning in, and the other I wish his entire existence was an accident. But alas, it was finally time for the Moonlord. Oh shit. But alas, it was finally time for the Moonlord. And after his defeat that we did for the very first time, what are you on about? It's time for the true Calamity experience. Now, first off is Providence's Guardians, and also like credits for some reason. Besides that little inconvenience, the fight itself was rather straightforward. He just basically bobbed and weaved as the meatballs tried to run themselves into me. This was also the fight that we started using potions for the first time, but mainly vanilla ones. With the Guardians of Providence down, we had to verse Mummy Meatball herself. And I kid you not, the majority of the fight, as they say in Latin terms, was GG easy. But the singular microsecond that she summoned her guardians, that's when we were catapulted downhill. Now, case in point is this screenshot. See, if you look right here, it's looking pretty good. But when you go up to here, that's not so good. So we absolutely held down left click like there was no tomorrow. And then finally, we were able to defeat Providence. Oh, and by the way, the credits are still rolling. Now, these next three bosses are equal in strength, as you would use the same summon to summon all these bosses, but in 3 different locations: the dungeon, space, and hell. Though before we started this fight, we maxed out our life fruits with special thanks to Alchemist NPC. The first one we decided to battle was the Stormweaver, who resided in space. And oh my god, let me tell you, it was a very dumb boss. Especially since his weak point was the tail, and with Zenith, it's not the easiest to hit. But after 5 actual minutes, the Stormweaver was defeated. The next one we went up against was Cygnus, who resided in hell. And I kid you not, we basically no-hitted the boss the entire fight. The fight itself was quite straightforward, especially in comparison to Old Mate's sensitive tail. But he actually had one more interesting trick left up his sleeve, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, the final boss is known as the Ceaseless Void, who resides in the dungeon, and I do not want to begin or even attempt to describe what this boss does, because every time I begin to at least to describe what he does, I just get massive monkey brain and go, he sucked, but then he died. Regardless, we did defeat him with a tad bit of slant. Now, once defeated all 3 bosses, you can use all 3 of their items to craft a new summoner for a boss called the Devourer of Gods. And in the Calamity community, it is known as Dog. Let's be honest, one's a bit more menacing than the other. Oh yeah, remember how I said Cygnus had one last trick up his sleeve? So I may have kind of didn't really pick up the item that he dropped. So we may have to kind of definitely verse him again. Don't worry, we defeated him again, and all is good in the universe. Well, speaking of dogs and universes, it's woof woof time. Now, right before the fight actually started, we may have found out that Zenith is meant to be post-Yaron in Calamity, which, if you didn't know, it's like the 3rd last boss. So, like, we should be able to defeat this Devourer of God. Oh, maybe we can dodge it, prepare a little bit better. I mean, the damage was there. We could just easily beat it next. So I think that's it. I don't think Zenith or even any vanilla gear will be strong enough to... Not again.
Hello, Elpa.
Hi, Zenith.
So I see you're bad-mouthing Zenith again.
I mean, yeah, we can't defeat dogs, so, like, why not?
Maybe, Elpa, you're just bad at the game and cannot beat it because you're too lazy to put in the preparation.
I wouldn't call it lazy, I would call it ruining the challenge. The whole idea of this was to see how far we could get with endgame vanilla items. Sure, we did some stuff like build a house and make a tiny arena, but at the end of the day, I completed the experiment.
Well, maybe you're wrong.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Maybe you only do the bare minimum of what people expect. Maybe you don't go above and beyond to achieve something truly amazing. Something that will leave an everlasting impression on the viewers. Maybe, just maybe, you should go and get a skullet.
Nah, fuck this. So about the live stream announcement, starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. AWST on the 30th of July, so about 9 hours from when this is uploaded, I will constantly be streaming Terraria from start to finish, and I will be trying to fill an entire large world with water. You may ask why I'm doing this. Funny. So yeah, come catch me at twitch.tv/Elper. The link is also in the description, and I'll see you there.